What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we're going to be having a look at another exclusive action card which has been given by the lovely folks at Wizards of the Coast for me to reveal on this lovely channel. So I suppose we should say, as always, huge thank you to the lovely folks over at Wizards, because this is amazing and I love revealing these cards and I am so happy they let me do so. Today we are going to be looking at a card which is rather specialized, which is to say very nice for specialists. It's Field Communicator, and at first glance it doesn't half look a little bit like the kind of cards we got for specialists in Wave 1. So what does it actually do? Well, it has a white icon, which means if you flip this card during either attacking or defending, and it's the first white icon you've seen, you flip 2 extra battle cards. White icons are good. It gives you +1 attack, but it does need to be pointed out that this is an upgrade utility, not an upgrade weapon. And we're going to have a look in a minute, but getting extra attack from a utility, not something we see very often. Please don't point out that we actually did see this in the video yesterday when I showed you mounted missiles, which was a utility which added to your attack. But having said that, that cost a star, and that was yesterday's video. Go check it out, link in the description. The other thing is that when you put it on a specialist, you scrap the top card of your deck. And then you may play it. Now, it says may play it. You do not have to. And this is not necessarily always a good thing, but this could be a very good thing, because here's the point. This can be an upgrade or an action, and you get a choice to play it. And there's kind of a card advantage going on here, because you do not need to have this card in your hand to play it. When you've got other cards, like MultiMission Gear, more on that in a moment, that lets you play an extra action, you've got to have that action in your hand. And if you've only got one action in your hand, then you may well end up playing an action now that you would have just played next turn anyway, because you don't have any other actions in hand. Whereas this gives you an actual advantage in that you're playing a card you didn't have beforehand. Now, it could backfire. So if we look at a card, Peace Through Tyranny, generally speaking, most decks play this for the double orange pips. Because it's got 2 orange pips. If you flick it while attacking, you get an extra 2 damage. That's phenomenal. But the problem is, if you discard it while playing Field Communicator, you're not going to flip it while attacking when you would have otherwise, assuming you were going to go straight into an attack. And that means you miss out on the double orange pips. Not only that, but Peace Through Tyranny gives you an option to KO one of your characters that has 6 or more stars, and then take an extra turn. Now, sometimes that can be the thing that literally wins you the game, and many more times you do not want to KO one of your characters. So if you were to flip Peace Through Tyranny while using Field Communicator, this could be a very bad thing. Having said that, you could flip Brainstorm and then get to play an extra 2 actions, which could be ridiculous, assuming, of course, you have 2 actions in your hand that you want to play. Or you could end up flipping something like a Force Field and then getting a free attachment of a Force Field, for argument's sake. This is a slightly risky card because it's not always going to work, but you still get the +1 attack, and it still provides a white icon, and it still gives you that attack in your utility slot. So let's be 100% clear about this. Even on the turns where it's not ideal, this is still a good card that more often than not is going to give you a big advantage. Now, we do need to compare this to the 2 specialist cards that we got in Wave 1 that will look a little bit familiar. So if we have a little bit of a look at MultiMission Gear, this has an orange icon, gives you +1 defense, and when you put it on a specialist, you may play an action. So you've got to have the action card in your hand in order to do this. And it's one of these cards that it's got an orange pip, which helps you when attacking, but it gives you +1 defense, which quite clearly helps you while defending. It's a good card, it's a decent card, but it's not great if you're going full attack or full defense, and like I say, you got to have that action card in your hand. Similarly, we could instead look at MultiTool, and MultiTool says that you may play this on a specialist, and then play an upgrade, while having a blue pip and +1 attack. So it is the exact opposite of MultiMission Gear, even to the point where it is a weapon, whereas MultiMission Gear is an armor. So both of those cards give you either help attacking or defending, and they let you play an action or an upgrade, and they very much have their uses. But I think I like Field Communicator better. I adore that you can have +1 attack in a utility slot. I really like the white icon. Now obviously you can't make your deck entirely out of white icons, but having a few peppered throughout really does help. Although of course I'm willing to admit that the uncertainty of not knowing what you discard could be a bit of an issue. Having said that, there are some characters that really want to run through their deck as fast as they possibly can, and in that regard this could actually be really good. One of my favourite characters, not proven to be amazing but still one of my favourites, is Autobot Cosmos. Now in bot mode, when you reshuffle your deck while you're attacking, you KO the defender if it has 12 stars or fewer, and Autobot Cosmos is a specialist. So you can put this on Autobot Cosmos, which means you discard a card from the top of your deck, which brings you one card closer to running out of your deck, and therefore being able to get a cheeky KO, which is quite nice. We also do have Nemesis Prime, that when you run through your deck, you get to put a card underneath it, and then that means that you get +3 attack, which is really, really nice. Having said that, not a specialist, so you would need to pair it with a specialist to get this combo going. Speaking of combos, this is going to work really, really nicely with the new keyword skill plan. Now, we haven't seen many characters that have this in Wave 2, though we assume we are going to see some more. We've got Taurox. Taurox in bot mode, when you flip to this mode, draw a card, then plan 1. You may put one card from your hand on top of your deck. And this combos beautifully with Field Communicator here, because you flip it into bot mode, draw a card, put whatever card you actually want to play on top of your deck, and then once you go and attach a Field Communicator to a specialist, you then get to discard that card. Oh no, wait, you're playing it. I don't know that Taurox is the best partner for this particular card, because of course you will need a specialist to attach Field Communicator to, although it is a 5 cost, so it is very, very low. But if we end up with a specialist in Wave 2 that does have the plan keyword skill, that is going to make Field Communicator really, really good with that particular character. Now, we have got a bunch of characters in the game that really want to use white icons. 2 of them really spring to mind because they are specialists. So if we have a quick look at Bumblebee Courageous Scout, when you are in bot mode, when you attack or defend and flip at least 2 white icons, flip 2 more battle cards. Now this is a specialist, so it can use Field Communicator as an upgrade, and it really wants you to flip lots of white icons, so if you end up flipping Field Communicator while attacking or defending, it's going to really help Bumblebee as well. So it is a really good card with Bumblebee. And similarly, when you flip to alt mode with Bumblebee Courageous Warrior, you draw a card, then you put a card from your hand on top of your deck. It's the same as Taurox, although as somebody did point out in the comments of one of my previous videos, Taurox says you may put a card down, Bumblebee says you have to. But again, you can put a card down on top of your deck, and then all of a sudden, you play Field Communicator onto Bumblebee and play that card. Bumblebee Courageous Scout really is a phenomenal partner for this particular card. Similarly, I'm a big fan of Chromeo here, because Chromeo, again, is a specialist. And in bot mode, when you attack and you flip at least 2 white icons, you draw 2 cards, which is brilliant. And then when you flip Chromeo into alt mode, you return a card that has at least 1 white icon from your scrap pile to your hand, which could be this, or it could be something else. So Chromeo, again, both sides of that card are a specialist, and both sides of those cards have skills that can combo with this really, really nicely. But I do just want to circle back quickly to this +1 attack on a utility. There are plenty of cards that give you +1 attack, But it's things like Agility of Bumblebee, which is only for Bumblebee, or Armed Hovercraft, which is only really for ranged characters. And then you've got some really nice weapons that can do this. Drill Arms is a really good card, which firstly gives you +1 attack, and when you put it on a character, either you scrap an armor, or you draw a card if you're unable to do so. Similarly, we've got Thermal Weaponry, which gives you +1 attack, and when you're attacking, it's got Pierce, equal to the number of blue icons that you flip. But these are both weapon cards that increase your attack. We do have some ways to get +1 attack with utilities, but none of them are particularly good. We've got Matrix of Leadership, which can only be put onto an Autobot, and unless you're also a leader, you just get +1 attack. We've got Agility of Bumblebee, which gives you +1 attack, but that's all it does unless you're Bumblebee, in which case you get to draw a card when you attack. And then we've got Tandem Targeting System. Now, I do need to mention this was one of the convention exclusive promos, so it is not a particularly cheap card. But when you play it from your hand, you may play another Tandem Targeting System from your scrap pile. Field Communicator may well be a card which is basically just for specialists, but having said that, if you're playing a specialist deck, this is pretty much the best option in terms of getting a +1 attack without having to use your weapon slot. And look, we know that extra actions are good because we've all played stuff like Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend. And we know that extra upgrades are good. The other day I showed you Megatron Arrogant Ruler. The uncertainty of this is a slight problem. But if you are running a specialist heavy deck, this is a really good card. White Pip, extra attack in your utility slot, and it lets you play an extra card that isn't even in your hand. Clearly, it's better when you can manipulate what the top card of your deck is to take away that uncertainty, but I really do think that there are going to be times where this proves itself to be a really good card in a specialist-heavy deck. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to know what you think about this card, so please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, but please do remember the most important rule as always. Be nice, would ya? Huge shout out to the lovely folks over at Wizards of the Coast again for letting me do this reveal. I am humbled and delighted to be able to do so. I've only got one card left to show you, but I still have one card left to show you. So roughly same time tomorrow, eh? For now, make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter @TheWossy, where I talk about Transformers and other games. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.